Here's a quick video showing the genuine 6.0s from Makita. Some knockoff by Whately brand 9.0. And these are the new 9.0 genuine Makita batteries. And this is, I only have one of these 12 amp hour monsters from Makita. And this video is just for the purpose to see what fits in this saw. It's the rear handle 7 1/4, 36 volt dual battery. This is the first cordless rear handle 7 1/4 saw to get released, and it was released by Makita. And now pretty much nowadays every brand has their own version of a 7 1/4 rear handle, you know, worm drive style saw. But this is the original one, first one to market, and it's still a very competitive saw, and even up to this date, you know, people love this saw. All right, so let's see the batteries. Here it is with the original 6.0s. These 6.0s are the same size as a 3.0, 4.0, 5.0. They're all the same size batteries, just different types of cells. As you can see, there's quite a big gap here, but the rafter hook still folds all the way in. No clearance issues whatsoever. Saw still remains very, very light. And also, I must mention that removing these batteries is fairly easy because of the gap, you're able to kind of grab the batteries from the back here. Right, no issues there. All right, and here it is with the dual 9.0s made by Whately, which are the knockoffs. I think these just fit perfectly. You know, rafter hook folds all the way. Definitely a good fit for this saw, in my opinion. There's another angle right here. Yeah, I mean, it's a little heavy, but nothing crazy. It weighs a little more than those dual 6.0s. These are pretty much the same size as those 6.0s, same dimensions, except instead of 2-row, these are like 3-row. And I know they're marketed or labeled as 9.0, but I think in tests these have come out to be more like a 6.0, just because they use lesser quality cells and they're just a little overrated. But yeah, these are a good option. They're fairly cheap. And just removing these can be a little bit of a pain, just because when the shoe's all the way at full depth, you know, you can't really get your fingers behind the battery to help to pull it out. So you kind of just rely on grip. But yeah, this is the way they look with the 9.0 Whately's. And here's a Makita genuine 9.0s. They're still not a bad fit. I like how they're flush with the motor housing. They don't protrude past this point, you know. I think this is a good fit. Like I said, weight-wise, again, yeah, it's not going to be as light with the original Makita batteries, the 6.0s, and I know these saws comes a kit with a 5.0. Going to be a little tad heavier, but your run time is definitely going to increase dramatically. Give you another point of view right here. No rubbing No rubbing, the batteries don't touch in any way, so they fit. They fit perfectly. The only downside of this is now the rafter hook doesn't fold all the way. It sticks out a little bit. These are still a good fit, I think. You know, you could always just store this with the rafter hook up. Shouldn't be an issue. Show you another angle right here. But yeah, not bad. And here's a saw with a 12.0. I only have one 12.0. I wish I had two to be able to put them side by side there, but the 12.0 and the 9.0, they're pretty much identical widths. I measured them with some calipers, and the 12.0 is actually slightly skinnier than the 9.0 for some reason. So once again, no fitment issues. There's plenty of space between the batteries. No rubbing issues. Even the 12.0, the shoe, the base of the shoe, you know, it's all the way down. It's at full depth, and you still got a little bit of daylight coming out of there. So, but even just one changes the weight of it dramatically. And then the battery protrudes past the motor here, so it's actually making it a lot wider than what it has to. Here's another angle of it. A little bit of a top view. So yeah, this one just makes it, that just looks crazy. And the rafter hook, yeah, good luck with that. It's not. But I mean, the rafter hook should still work, because down is storage, you know. That would be stored. You could easily fit a 2x here, you know, and also you could also store it like that, and you could still fit. It'll still go through a 2x easily. With the 12.0 on this side, I did realize there is a spot where it slightly rubs when you put it in. The battery rubs somewhere in here. You can tell. Not much, but it does touch it, and it does kind of shift the battery. It does kind of shift it out a little bit. It's supposed to be like that. Once you put it, it kind of opens up this gap here. So yeah, I mean, the 12s, they do fit, but they are gonna rub a little bit there. I would say the biggest battery you could go with this size, the 9.0s. 9.0s are just a better fit overall. No rubbing whatsoever. Battery still got plenty of wiggle room. Here's a 12.0 on the other side. Not that it changes anything, but it's just to show that a 12.0, two 12.0s will fit in the 7 1/4 rear handle. You can see the gap between there. But yeah, that looks crazy. Well, with two 12s, you'll have runtime for days for sure. All right, well, thanks for watching. This was just to show the 9.0 and the 12.0 new batteries from Makita. Not available yet in the States. I was able to get these shipped out through some retailer over at the UK. You just place an order. Shipping's it was about like $60 to ship these out. A little pricey, but I just wanted to get my hands on these. Well, thanks for watching.